we're gonna set a couple of rules here. No matter where this goes, Malky's not gonna hang up, and no matter where it goes, I'm not gonna edit it. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna say my piece, and he's gonna say his, and we're gonna put this to rest because I've known him a long time. Malky is with us now. Malky, are you there?
I'm here.
Listen, man, what is going on with the Jon situation? I felt like I got put in the crosshairs of it for talking about it. I heard rumblings that you weren't happy with the way I was talking about it. Where are we at?
No, I'm not happy with it at all. I don't appreciate the fact that you come out there, you put stuff out there, you don't even, call to get even a confirmation or anything to that effect. Then, you know what I mean, you get testy with the publicist, and then before you know it, you're putting out more stuff, and you just keep putting out stuff, and you just keep doing stuff, and at the end of the day, you know what I mean, that's really where it is. That's where it's at.
Let me ask you this, though, and let me tell you why I'm defending myself on the matter. I hate it when people do it. People did that to me. I'm still resentful for them, and I don't want to do that. I don't believe in piling on a guy. I don't believe in kicking a guy when he's down. I believe that I stayed within my lanes. I believe I talked about what had happened. I did break the news.
You have the right to talk about what had happened. No one is sitting here telling you that you don't have that right. I see. This is my problem with it. You're a guy that went through this. You're a guy that knew what you were doing. You're a guy that put up no defense. You came out and said, "Hey, this is what I did. This is what happened. This is what I was doing." And you know what? For whatever it was worth, God bless you. That's the route you took. In this case. And you know very well that you started testing how it is, and you know very well the Nevada State Athletic Commission and every other commission and everybody involved in testing how this stuff could be. You know the supplement market. You know the game that industry in itself plays. And I'm watching a fellow or former UFC fighter, one of the greatest stories for a fighter in general. And then you come on, you want to pile on. His legacy's tainted. You're that's what I didn't like. The fact that you're a media guy and you want to say stuff or you want to report stuff, you're within your rights. I think you're right in that lane. But at the same time, from a fellow fighter, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand why that was the route you took.
All right, Malk, I got to jump in real quick here. We've agreed to not edit this. Your phone broke up briefly. I want the listeners to know that nothing was beeped out just there. You hit a dead spot. Listen. Here's where I'm coming from on this, and one of the reasons that I am so qualified to speak on it and I get asked to is for what you said. I went through it. I lived on both sides of the tracks here. When it comes to Jon, I have not speculated that he did a cycle. I think you just said something as your phone was breaking up there that I insinuated that. And let me make this clear for people that are listening and that are on the bandwagon here that Jon had done something. Let me clear this up real fast. This is not an if-then statement. USADA tests for estrogen blockers. This is USADA's statement. If you're on an estrogen blocker, if you came off a steroid cycle, you'll need an estrogen blocker. So if we missed the cycle, we can catch you after the fact if we see these blockers. Now, it's not an if-then statement. Let me explain. If you did steroids, then you need an estrogen blocker. However, if you're on an estrogen blocker, it does not mean that you had then previously done steroids. That is where they come from, and that's been my statement from the beginning. Jon is in the hot seat for what he tested positive for, which were these estrogen blockers. A blocker is just that. It blocks something. It does not add anything. That is what he has to answer to, but I have not speculated on that anywhere, and if I had, and I'm telling you something here right now, correct me, but I do not believe anywhere, ever, I have speculated any differently than that. Jon tested positive. He's got to deal with it. He's going to be in some red tape. They were estrogen blockers. I don't see where I'm out of my lane.
No, listen, everything you're saying so far is absolutely correct. Like I said, I just think that as a fellow fighter, when you got this information, you never tried to cross-check it. You never called and said, hey, Mal, this is what's going on. Is this correct? Is this possible? Blah, blah, blah. Nothing. It just was, hey, Jon's on estrogen blockers. Great. And then his legacy now is in question. And absolutely, I think you made a statement at some point that you thought he was absolutely cheating, just like Anderson Silva or something to that effect, if I'm not mistaken.
I never compared him with Anderson, no.
But you said he was cheating, correct?
I never have used the word cheating. Now, I'll tell you this. If you're taking something that's banned, that's cheating. But cheating is a very broad spectrum. It's much like crime. If a guy jaywalks, he committed a crime, but we don't consider him a criminal. That statement I have made. It's a very broad spectrum, and it does come down to intent. If John or anyone else took something and didn't mean, but here, I'll finish.
Guy. Listen.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
You're a very intelligent guy. I love the way you present stuff. Here's the bottom line, okay? The problem that I've had with testing and this whole entire system from day one is the fact that there's almost absolutely zero due process for anyone involved.
That's true.
You get popped for something, it's the whole world knows about it. You go test the B sample. Just so everybody's clear, once and for all, B sample, 99.99999% is going to come back the same way the A sample came back. Very rarely does it ever come back anything different.
Right.
Okay? So that's just part of a procedure, per se, okay? Procedural process, whatever it is. And then after that, you are considered guilty unless there is some sort of explanation that shows, not even an explanation, let me stop, unless you've got some sort of proof that shows there's been some sort of mistake. Now, what you're saying, Malk, how the hell is there a mistake? You take something, you go get tested, it's in your system, there's no mistake. I get that. I get that process. I get the way fans think. I get the way USADA thinks. I get the way everyone else thinks. There's this thing called you're responsible for what you put in your body. I've been on the record as saying this. I absolutely 1,000% believe if you are an athlete and you decide to take the route of I'm going to go do this, and you knowingly go out and you purchase products, whether it's a supplement, whether it's an actual steroid, any type of performance enhancer, and you use it, I think that there should be punishment, and there should absolutely be harsh punishment. Would you agree with me on that so far?
Yes.
I think that on the other hand, though, you get a guy that says, hey, I walk into a GNC or my freaking Whole Foods market and pick up whatever supplement, okay? And you go out and all of a sudden you test positive for something, and you're like, wait a minute, I had no clue this was happening. How did this happen? A la Yoel Romero, okay? You should then not be suspended. This whole you are responsible for what you put in your body, in my opinion, is it's like when the federal government can use the word conspiracy. It's the strongest word in the law that they have against anybody they think is committing a crime. Conspiracy. It's the same thing. It's the same thing to me.
Malk, I'll agree with you. I will agree with you. That's a cop-out. You know, this is the government, and they don't want anything on their hands, so they just push it to the fighter by saying, well, it's your responsibility. In any other walk of society, no, it's not. You're the government. This is a lowly cage fighter. It is not even playing field, and you have to take some responsibility. I agree with what you're saying there. I think what got us down this topic, though, is you had asked if I thought that Jon Jones was cheating, and I'm making the point that if he takes something that he's not allowed to take, yes, that qualifies as cheating.
Yeah, but Chael, again, you're twisting it. If somebody takes something that they're not supposed to take, and they knowingly do so, you got a product. Because at the end of the day, if I'm taking steroids, I know what I'm taking. Okay? If I'm taking estrogen blockers, I know what I'm taking. If I'm drinking alcohol, I know what I'm drinking. Right? But this is the same. This is the problem with this whole system. This is like saying, and I might get ripped for this tomorrow or whatnot. Okay? If you're a girl at the bar, all right, and you have your drink there, and a guy comes and sits next to you, and he sticks something in your drink, and you get raped. Well, sweetheart, you should have been watching your drink. That's exactly what you tell anybody who comes and says, well, wait a minute, I didn't do this. I'm not a cheater. I've got all these blood tests I've done so far that prove I'm not cheating, and now all of a sudden I'm cheating? Wait a minute, I didn't cheat. That has to be somewhere. The Yoel Romero case, we found the supplement. We tested the supplement. USADA bought the supplement directly from the manufacturer, tested it, and still suspended him. He's still branded as a cheater, even though the supplement he took did the opposite of what he popped for. He had no idea. It wasn't on the label.
No, I get your point. Malk, we're making the same point.
When you use that terminology, see what I'm saying? That's what sets off that thing of, well, he's a cheater. So now what happens is, here I come, and I got to go defend my guys who are not cheating. Because if you can say to me, hey, this guy's got an elevated testosterone level, there's some HGH in his body, HCG, all this stuff, and he's on a full-blown cycle, in that case, I'd say, I'll tell you, you know what? Damn, I wouldn't even know how to defend that. Why would this happen?
Yeah.
Oh, well, because I took this, I took that. Well, you shouldn't have taken that. Or you shouldn't be injecting stuff in you. But when somebody orally takes things, okay, whatever performance enhancer, that they could pop for. And Tim Means' case, Yoel Romero's case, okay? These guys had no clue that the substance that they popped for was in their supplements. Tim Means is not my client. It doesn't just happen to my guys. It happens to everybody, okay? They didn't know it was in the substance. That guy is not a cheater. That guy is not a cheater. I don't care what anybody says. Now, is he responsible for what he put in his body? Absolutely. But you're not sitting here talking about taking, you know what I mean, something from a that he went online and he researched this, and this place has been banned by 1,000 places. And they're selling protein, so I'm going to buy the protein from this guy, even though he looks a little shady. No, they're talking about these people are going down to their local nutrition stores. You know what I mean? They're coming down to these places. They're talking to their nutritionist. You know what I mean? Whoever it is, and they're figuring out, all right, let me take this. I should take this. Hey, I work out 4 times a day. What do I need? Well, you need BCAAs. You need recovery. You need post-workout, pre-workout. You need protein, this, that. Well, you know, the guy takes 8, 9, 10 different supplements. Okay? You think that what you're taking is clean. And I think that's the bigger message to me, is that instead of people looking at it like, wait a minute, what a cheater he is, it's like, hold on. How many more guys have to get hit before the federal government sit here and decide, wait a minute. You know what I mean? You've got guys that are not cheating that are taking huge hits. Huge hits.
So, Malk, you cut me off before I finish my thought. Let me finish it now because you and I are on the same page on this. For us, for the public, cheating comes down to intent. And you bring up Yoel Romero, you bring up Tim Means. These guys, his hands were clean. You could go a step further. Machida never popped for anything. Turned himself in and said, hey, I got a supplement here. Looks like we could have an issue. They test him. The test comes back and says, nope, no issue. You're clean. They sit him anyway. BJ Penn, never charged of a supplement at all, sits. And now you got Frank Mir in some kind of a hot seat. Frank Mir's got as much credibility as any fighter I've ever met. He always tells it straight, and even they are confused by, look, I understand it's not perfect. And I do agree with you. It comes to intent. But another thing is you bring up a guy's day in court. And I went through this same thing where I try to voice this to people and go, hey, there's no such thing as a day in court. A day in court implies a judge who is a disinterested third party. The commission has made a decision. You then have to go to that commission, and for them to see it your way means they have to admit that they had it wrong in the first place. And in the history of the commission, that has happened a grand total of 0 times. They have never ruled against themselves. So I agree with you on that. There is not due process, though they love to come out and use that term, due process.
The issue is, on top of it, is that if you want to come out with it, fine. But let's go through all this first. Let guys put together their cases. Let guys, if Yoel Romero would have had an opportunity, at least, to go through the B sample and then appeal. You know, we got the whole thing, Chael, done in about a matter of 5 weeks. From the time we found out to the time that his stuff was actually done, about 5 to 6 weeks. Okay, had we sat here and just waited, right, and gone through the whole appeal process and let everyone know, hey, look, we haven't talked about Yoel, because at that time Yoel had just fought. His was not a competition test. You know what I mean? Without any issue, nothing like that. Popped for some weird substance to this day. I don't even know what it does or doesn't do. Really, like, off the wall. It's not like an estrogen blocker or testosterone or you know what I mean? It's not none of that stuff. It's some weird terminology that they had, and I didn't even know what it did. All I knew was that, you know, what he was trying to do and what the supplement does were two opposite things. And at the end of the day, this guy is branded as a cheater because there was a suspension that was levied against him. This is a guy who's been tested more than any other athlete in the history of athletes in the UFC. He's been an Olympian his whole life. So for him to sit here and face this punishment makes absolutely 0 sense to me. You know what I mean? Because he decided that after a fight, comes home, talks to his nutritionist, and they say, here, buy this supplement. And he bought the supplement. Look at the label. Nothing's on the label. No issue. Boom, still gets 6 months. So I'm anticipating the same thing is going to happen to Bones. I anticipate the same thing will end up happening with Frank and anyone else that really honestly isn't taking anything. What I'm not happy with, it's not necessarily the suspension amount. It would just be better if at the end of the day it was all wrapped into one. Hey, he got suspended, or we pulled him off the card. Okay, we're not talking about it. This happened, this happened, this happened. Oh, by the way, yes, USADA confirms they tested it, this one tested it. It's exactly what they're saying. You know what I mean? He took this is what happened, end of story. You know what I mean? And if people want to come back and say, oh, he's a cheater, well, then that's just some ignorant people. But right now, the way it looks, every one of the guys you mentioned are branded as cheaters, and there's no way of getting around that. So when media guys say it, you know what, it's disappointing. But when a fellow fighter insinuates it, because you know who the audience, what you're dealing with, that's where I have the problem. And that's where you and I got off on the wrong foot. Now, mind you, I understand that when you went public with, Jon Jones' people can kiss my ass or whatever it was, you know what I mean, or shove it up their ass, whatever. You weren't talking about me. I understand that. I called you after the fact. I called you after that podcast went out.
That's true. I mean? That's true. It was not you. And when I said his people were contacting me, it wasn't you. That is true. Now, let me ask you this, though, Malk. When the substances came out and what John had, was John at the hearing on Monday, or they just had one and it was about him? Was he there present in the?
We were on the phone. John and I were both on the phone.
Okay. So they revealed that Clomid was one of the substances. I mean, how do you explain that away? Clomid is a high-grade prescription medication. It's not. Look, this isn't something they're going to slip into something by accident. I mean, this is an expensive. How are you going to explain Clomid?
Okay, listen, Chael, here's the bottom line. Number one, I'm not going to discuss the intricacies of John's case, what the substances are, what they're not. The Nevada State Athletic Commission revealed that he popped for clomiphene, okay, which is, and it was a metabolite. It was hydroxychlorophene or something like that, whatever it's called, okay, which was a metabolite of clomiphene, which is found primarily in the prescription drug Clomid, okay? So, again.
All right. Well, don't get into your details of the case.
Hold on. Let me finish.
All right.
Unless I'm being lied to, okay? Unless John knowingly took Clomid, okay? Which I know for a fact he wasn't, and I know for a fact he does not cheat, nor does he take steroids, nor does he know any. No, listen, I'll put it to you like this. He's so anti-steroids. He's so anti-cheating that if somebody would have came to him and said, hey, John, I got this pill, take this pill, it's going to help you in your fight, he won't do it. That's not the type of guy he is. He's actually the opposite. He likes to stack the chips up against himself to test himself. Remember when he fought you, he wanted to fight you at what you were supposedly good at, wrestling. When he fought Glover, he stood in the pocket because that's what Glover supposedly was good for. He was going to beat him at his own game. That's the Jon Jones I know. And I flat out asked him, buddy, did you take anything at all at any point in time? And he looked me in the face. He says, bro, you know me better than that. I would not do it. Me and John have a relationship where he could have told me I did. Help me. That did not happen. He flat out told me, you know me better than that. I would never take anything. I don't even know what this stuff is. Okay? So here's all I'm going to say to you, is that our thoughts are that this isn't some stuff he's taken. We believe we've identified the actual supplement he's taken, the substance that he's taken, okay? The supplement, the pill, whatever it was that he took. And we're having that tested. And if our suspicions are correct, we're going to come out with it and say, here you go. We've already sent our samples to USADA. USADA, I think, has already purchased the product from the manufacturer directly to verify if what we're thinking is accurate. And if that's the case, then obviously we're going to have a defense to be able to present that there was no intent to cheat, whether it was Clomid or Letrozole or whatever it is that these substances are, because, Chael, it's real simple. If you give me a cup of water and I pop for something, okay, and I drank this cup of water, and that's the only thing I drank, it's my word versus the damn test. I'm probably going to lose, okay? But if I have a bottle of water and I pop for some sort of fluid, something that they're saying was wrong, and I say, look, man, I don't know what you're talking about. This is the only thing I drank in the last 3 days. It's in this bottle. Test it. And you test that bottle, and you find that it's in there, okay, well, you know what? Hold on a second. All right, Maki, you're real slick. You probably were taking it, and, this is your cop-out. Cool. No problem. I get that. I get that theory, okay? But now go buy the product from the manufacturer directly. And if it pops up in that bottle also, now what? And that's what happened with Yoel Romero, and nothing came out of it other than a suspension anyway. You see what I'm saying? So the reality of it is you're asking me how to explain some stuff. I don't know how to explain it. Here's what I will tell you from my findings in dealing with the supplement business and the supplement world, okay? My good friend at GAT Nutrition, Mark Post, who I've done business with for a very long time, very stand-up dude, very honest guy, has absolutely zero to hide, zero to lie about, has just always shot me straight. Now, the way this stuff works is, first of all, so everyone out there is listening knows and gets it. These supplement companies buy their products to make from China. The same way the automakers get their stuff from China, and almost every electronic product we get is made in China, so is the supplement. So now when you go on the label and you see folic acid and whey protein and hydrated eggs and all these other ingredients, every one of those things, for the most part, has been bought in China. Gets shipped over to the U.S. XYZ supplement company buys, whatever amount of folic acid and whey protein and this and that and the other. They go into a lab. They mix it. They make this formula. They mix it, put it together, and they sell it to the public. Now, the problem with that is that the stuff you're getting from China, these companies aren't testing, and they're not required to test it. So let me ask you this. Is it highly unheard of that all of a sudden maybe that there was a supplement company that might use clomiphene in one of their testosterone boosters? Could it possibly be that there's something, and then, hey, it's not on the label because supplement company might have not even known. They bought certain stuff, put it together, all of a sudden they send it out. Or what if whatever Jon took was something that somebody did on purpose from the supplementation company? Maybe they spiked it so that they can get results from regular people. You get where I'm coming from? So when somebody asks me, well, how does he do this? Well, wait a minute. I mean, it's not impossible. Yoel Romero's case, USADA showed up on his doorstep with the negative results and said, hey, this is so rare. This is in some laboratory. This is underground stuff. We need to know how you got it. He looked at them and said, what do you mean? We know there's no way in the world you could have created this product. This is something that we don't see, that it's very rare. Where'd you get it from? Like, what are you guys talking about? You're guilty, brother. You're guilty from the moment that test comes back bad. Okay? And we get that. We understand that. Jon gets that. But at the end of the day, when you sit here, again, doing what you just did, how do you explain it? Very simple. The same way anybody else who's ever had an experience with a tainted supplement. If, in fact, you took something, you know what you take. See, the beautiful thing about this is that I have everything Jon took. I know everything Jon took. Okay? I have it all the bottles, everything. It's all being tested. Okay? None of it is a red flag.
Mal.
None of it is banned stuff. None of it has banned substances on the labels. None of it is stuff that USADA would have said you shouldn't take that. You get where I'm coming from?
I hear everything you're saying. Let me get a couple of thoughts out, and let me get these out before you respond. To start with, if you're hoping he's going to get 6 months, in a realistic world, look, the rules are pretty clear. And wherever he had it, that argument will go a little ways. And what you're saying on Yoel Romero, Tim Means, man, that was Fugazi. Those guys got cleared. They got hit with suspensions, and they shouldn't have. I get all of those things. In Jon's case, he's got not one but two. Okay, he's got two things. That's tough. He's got a track record. He lacks credibility because of what he'd been through. You said, I believe that you believe everything you're saying. You're not trying to swerve me and you're shooting straight. You're also an extremely loyal guy. I would suggest to you that perhaps somebody hasn't shot straight with you. When you say your belief that Jon has never taken anything is because he looked you in the eye and he's so anti-steroid. And I would say to you, do you not believe he's anti-hit and run? And this isn't my attempt to pile on Jon. These are the things that he's going to be faced with. I don't know, Malky, that anyone is shooting straight with you. I can tell you from living in that world, you don't tell anybody. And it's just a tough spot. It's not enough for you to say, look, I believe him and he told me this. It's like, Malk, you could be getting worked. He tested positive for 2 substances. He's got to answer for these things. He just does. And it's 2 substances. To believe he's not going to sit for 2 years is wishful at best. Am I wrong?
I think you're 1,000% wrong. I think based on the information that I have, based on his test, based on the fact that there's no indication other than the fact that he has this in the system, okay, metabolites of this stuff, that at the end of the day, that this guy had no intent to cheat. There was no intent to take something that was on a banned substance list. Okay, I 1,000% believe him, because in every other situation, whether it was the hit and run, whether it was the cocaine test, whether it was whatever it is that people want to report, I called up and I got the facts from his mouth directly every single time. And this time would have been no different. If there was anything he took that he would have thought, man, this guy at the gym, he's really big, and he said, man, just take a shot of this or take these 2 pills and it's good, he'd have told me. He would have told me. So what I'm saying to you is that unfortunately I understand from your position, what you see is what you see, and from my position, it's a completely different relationship. I have no reason to think that he's lying to me at all. And I absolutely don't believe that I'm being worked. And I think I absolutely have 1,000% faith in the fact that not 1, but 2 substances will pop up in some supplement here or there, which I think was even more the reason why he won't get hit with 2 years. Because you got to think, if 1 substance was it, cool. All right, it's in the substance. All right, but now you got 2. So imagine if you took 1 supplement and 2 substances you pop for are in that supplement. I don't think many people could say anything other than the fact he really got screwed taking that supplement.